everyone, and welcome to the Great Couch. We will discuss all things ABA, entrepreneurship, and lifestyle. We have a very special series that is dedicated to parents as well as parents of children with special needs. Today, I am extremely excited to have Ornella Yovo join us on the Great Couch to discuss budgeting. Thank you so much, Ornella, for joining us today. Will you mind telling us about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Ornella. I am a financial trainer at the Financial Gym. I love all things money. I am a financial wellness enthusiast. And really my goal is to help people manage their money better, understand finances, and just, take away a lot of like that pressure and the anxiety that comes with managing money. All things finance, love having conversations. I'm a speaker, financial coach, all of that.
Awesome. Well, I am so, like I said, excited to have you today. I think a lot of people are scared to talk about finances or money or management of money and what that entails. And it oftentimes, I can even speak for myself, just seems like a big task and something that's so scary. So thinking of, finances and money management, what does it mean to budget in your own definition? What does that mean?
Yes. So many people are scared of budgets, right? Like they never want to put themselves on a
Right.
budget. But for me, a budget is really kind of like just a roadmap to help you get to where you want to get at the end of each month, right? Like you want to know how much you're making, you want to know how much you're spending. So if you're spending more than you make, you can course correct and, begin to cut your expenses so that you can save more. If you have excess money at the end of the month, then okay, I have more room to either save, invest, do the things that are wealth producing instead of just like blowing your money willy-nilly on things. So budget really does allow you to kind of just understand where you are, see it on paper, and allow you to stick to a plan.
Mm-hmm. So I guess for like the budgeting purposes, should someone budget, let's say 3 months out, 6 months out, month to month, week to week? What is standard as it relates to budgeting?
Yeah, so I like to see my clients budget on like a monthly basis because you want to know, okay, I make this amount per month, I spend this, these are my bills, this is so on. So you should probably be tweaking that or paying attention to it at least monthly. But in terms of savings, you really should save about like 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses so that, if God forbid you lose your job or anything happens like that, then you have a cushion to kind of fall back towards. But your budget really you should be tweaking it. So like on a quarterly basis or even like every other month, because things change, right? You can make more money one month. You might have one month where you lose your job, or you might have a month where you side hustle and you make more, or your expenses shift from month to month. So you should be like constantly tweaking and refreshing.
Okay. And what would you say is some things that are included in a budget? Obviously, I know depending upon probably your lifestyle and the things that you do, it may change, but what have you seen in your experience are those staples that are traditionally in, a budget?
Yeah. So rent is always an expense that people have to pay, unfortunately. And I hate the whole rent thing, but you have to live somewhere. So I always see rent. But sometimes I see a lot of like credit card obligations. So like the credit card minimums for people who have debt, or like student loans, which is the thing that really plagues our American system in general. So I always see those line items. But what I don't see enough of, and what I would hope that more people do, is they have a line item in their budget for savings. So saving for their emergency fund, and then also saving, like, let's say for investments or any other form of saving. I even tell my clients, like, it's okay to budget for like the fun and travel things that you do, because it's better to have a box to know where to operate than to not have anything at all. And then you end up spending it and going overboard on a monthly basis.
Yeah. So I love that you talked a lot about, just now the savings in general. So what would you say are some ways that someone can build on their savings? And I guess like the secondary part to that question is this series is really dedicated towards parents as well as parents of children with special needs. So whether it be, one, how can they build their savings, but also how can they maybe build their savings to have enough for that rainy day or for their child's future?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm big on taking inventory of your finances, because you should really know where you are before you know where you're going, right? It's very similar to like a GPS. If Siri or if Waze doesn't know where you are, then it can't tell you where you're going, right? So sit down, take some time to understand, like, okay, how much do you make on a monthly basis? If you make $2,000 in income, then okay, also write down your expenses, right? You want to write down all the rent you're paying, the subscriptions, if you have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, like you want to write all those things down so you know how much you're paying. Then also take inventory of like any debt minimums that you're paying as well. So like if you have student loans, credit card minimums, a car note, anything like that, you want to know where you have, where your separations are. And then from there, take all of your income, subtract all of your expenses. You should have, hopefully, if you're living within your means, you should have a bit of money left over so that you can save. But what I encourage is save first and then spend whatever's left. So as you make your income, dedicate like 10%, 5 or 10% of that income towards savings. You can put a good portion of it into your emergency fund, and then put another portion of it towards paying down debt if you have any debt. If you don't have any debt, then you can put that towards like the 529 savings for your children, or any other form of investing that you'd like to have for them as well. And then spend whatever's left on variable. So the going out to eat, the shopping, that kind of stuff, you should do that after you've saved for the month already.
Okay. And I know you mentioned like 529 or something. Can you talk about like what that is?
Yeah. So a 529 plan is really a college or school saving plan for your students. It's an investment plan that allows you to save for your children tax benefit wise. So you can put money into it, and once they're ready to go to school, whether it's a private high school or private or college or whatever the case is, you can withdraw that money tax free.
Okay. Wow. That's really good to know. I've never heard of that before. So that's great. And then as it relates to, the rainy day, I know you mentioned when we first started talking about budgeting that someone should save at least 3 to 6 months of their expenses. And I know probably when people hear that, they're like, wait, what? Like, how can I even get there? Because maybe some people may struggle just with being able to save 1 month's expense. So for those who may think that is not doable, what kind of like maybe words of encouragement or like small simple things can they implement now, that may even be like some money eaters, or that they can probably make some shifts to be able to start on that track to saving for the rainy day, or to invest in their child's future?
Yeah, like I know it sometimes seems like a lot. Like I do this for my clients all the time. I give them like, your 6-month emergency fund number is $20,000, and they're like, I don't even have $100 in my account. How do I get there? And it's good to at least have the number, and what you're working towards, right? And for me, I believe in like really manifesting money into your life. So sometimes you'll think like, oh, I'm never gonna have this, or whatever the case is. But once you shift that mindset, it's like, okay, money is going to come to me. I just need to figure out how to get it. So if it's that you need to take on some extra jobs, or like you have some side hustle idea you've been thinking about that you've never actually got around to like bringing into fruition, or anything like that, like those are ways to fast track that emergency fund goal for you. And then you think about the little small expenses that we all waste money on, like it's Starbucks, or it's the random trips. And for me, it's ice cream. So I'm always spending like $7 on a cone of ice cream. And sometimes I ask myself, like, do you really need it? So it's those little expenses that, you can kind of live without, that will allow you to continue to save, build faster, and really pay down any debt, and then begin to save for your children.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm just thinking of all my little money eaters daily that I can cut out.
We all have them. Like literally, I think about all the things that I spend money on sometimes. Like this month as I was moving, I spent so much money on like little things, and just planning your purchases helps you.
Mm.
If you know that you have a large purchase coming up, you can at least begin saving for it, or you can find ways to get the purchase cheaper, right? If you use some coupons, or if you find other places to buy it at. Like a lot of my furniture for my house, I planned for, and I looked on Let Go. So like OfferUp, Let Go, a lot of those like secondhand places, because it would have cost me like $500 retail at the store, but just buying it from someone that gently used it on Lego has allowed me to save so much money. So like little things like that, just getting creative about how you're making your purchases.
Yeah, and I think that that's like a great tip, especially when we're thinking of like parents and like toys and, you know, things that their kids may engage with for like a week or a month. And then it's to the side and you're like, I spent so much money on this and you're not even using it. So
Yeah.
I think that that was like, that's a general like great tip in terms of like, hey, looking into other platforms or things like that to, you know, have something to obtain something at a cheaper rate. So that's wonderful. So it seems a lot that, you know, you discuss when we're doing the budgeting, you know, for our expenses, budgeting for savings, and, you know, I guess the funding, if any, that may be left over, you can probably utilize that for, you know, like, you know, coffee and things like that. So my question to you is, I know that there's some people who may believe that you should be, say, for example, if you make $2,000 a month, that $2,000 needs to be spent. You know, and if there is excess over, I need to spend it, or maybe there's excess over, I put it in the savings, or excess over, I just let it roll over into the next month, and maybe I have an extra 20 for the next month. So when we're thinking of wanting to building like wealth, generational wealth, or wealth in general, and things like that, would you suggest that if there is that extra $20 or so that's left over, for maybe someone to put that into a savings, to say, hey, this is my petty cash money, to let it roll over to the next month, or maybe look into other forms of investment?
Yeah. So investing only makes sense after like the emergency fund has been done and you have like very limited, like low interest debt to happen, right? So I don't encourage people to begin investing if the first two things haven't been done. But let's say you make all your money for the month, you spent all your money for the month, and you have like $20 to $100 left. I feel like that should be going into your emergency fund if it's not already fully funded.
Okay.
Right? Like just put it away, because you never know when a rainy day is going to happen. Like COVID has rocked us all in a way that no one was expecting. And especially like if you have kids, you want to make sure that there's a little bit of a cushion. So just in case like anything happens, if kids have a way of hurting themselves sometimes, God forbid, but like, or if they need like any additional books for school, anything like that, like you can very comfortably say, oh, I have it, as opposed to, oh, I have to wait until I get paid again or whatever. So many people live paycheck to paycheck, and that's something that I'd really like to break the cycles of, is like just that anxiety feeling when you need to pay for something impromptu, but you don't have it.
Right, absolutely. Well, I think again, thank you for that tip with the investment piece, because I think that as a whole, we always hear we should be investing, or investing in stock, or investing in this, or putting more towards your, you know, if you're awarded with a 401k or an IRA and all these terms and things that are names that are out there for stuff. But I think that you brought up a very valid point of, you know, it being important to, one, take your bills, to try to build your savings and that emergency fund. But also that, you know, these are some prerequisites that needs to be handled prior to you now investing your money into stocks or some of these other things, or mediums. So I definitely think that that was a very great point. My last question to you is, I just want your general thoughts. I know a lot of times on social media, when it comes to like savings. I feel like everyone wants to save, but I think that sometimes it's hard to know how to save, or to know that I should not touch my savings, or know how much money should I actually save. So I've seen a lot on different, social media platforms. What is it, like, across a certain amount of weeks, first start off with $1 a day, then the next week do $2 a day, then it's building up to like $50 a week. So what are your general thoughts? Because I think, again, with savings, I think, some people hope that there's like a formula, because again, sometimes it can be really tricky to put money aside when you feel like I need the money. So what would you say is a good starting point to someone who, again, may not have a lot left over at the end of the month, but really just training that mindset to know the importance of saving?
Yeah. Unfortunately, real wealth building is not as sexy as Instagram makes it seem.
Yeah.
Very slow and steady wins the race kind of situation. Like, and a lot of it is discipline, because what Instagram and a lot of other kind of financial advisors are selling is sensationalism, right? Like doing things that will quote quote get you a lot of money saved fast, and we don't want to save a lot of money fast, right? The point is to save sustainably and make it make sense for you and make it fit into your budget. So for people, I think the one thing to focus on is like understanding your saving limits, because sometimes even that 10% rule of savings, that might not work for you. If you have children and you have like a lot of expenses, it might be challenging to save a full 10% of your income, right? But it's really starting where you are. And I always encourage people, open a high yield savings account. You can see, if you just Google high yield savings account, you'll see a lot of different savings accounts, but they're usually on online banks, so that it gives you the opportunity to not see the money in your checking account every single day. And sometimes people need that. It needs to be like out of sight, out of mind completely.
Yeah.
And just have it somewhere else. If you put away $50 a month, and the next month you realize, okay, I'm a little more comfortable, I can put it away $100 a month or whatever, you start doing that and you don't even feel it. And next thing you know, you check that account one day down the road and it's like, oh, I have $1,000 here. Oh, I have $2,000 here. Like, that's so rewarding, and it makes people feel so, so good. I think that's the way to like really build sustainable wealth down the road, as opposed to like the quick wins and the hype of Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ornella, for your time today. Very, very valuable gems that you have dropped that
Yeah.
I will utilize. I'm sure people that are not parents will utilize, because like we, said at the beginning, the whole financial literacy and savings and budgeting and all that can be very scary, especially when you really may not understand how money works, and how you can make your money work for you. So if it is that people want to get further connected to you, how could they go about doing that?
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Ornella Yovo. So it's just my name. You can also get in contact with me if you would like personal financial training through the Financial Gym. So just look up the Financial Gym. We are a gym, but we operate very similar to like a fitness gym. We have personal trainers for your finances, essentially. So you can find me there, as well as through my own consulting company, O Squared.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time today, and I am sure we will see you again very soon.